If you don't harden your spirit, life will crush you. And the worst part, no one is coming to save you. Life is a battlefield, and only the strong survive. The world doesn't slow down because you're tired, emotional, or overwhelmed. Weak people spend their entire lives blaming others, the system, their past, their surroundings. But here's the brutal truth. Life doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't stop to comfort you. It doesn't hand you success because you want it. Life rewards discipline, resilience, and a mind forged in pressure. You think success comes from luck or some motivational quote? No, success begins when you kill the weak version of yourself. When you stand in the mirror and say, I refuse to break, I refuse to complain, I refuse to quit. That mindset, that unshakable inner steel is what separates warriors from victims. It's what creates men who don't wait for opportunities. They create them, understand something clearly. Life doesn't wait for the weak. Every day, thousands of people get crushed because they expect life to be fair. They hope someone will notice their struggle and lift them up. That's not how this world works. The only people who rise are the ones who harden their spirit, who take pain as a teacher, not a punishment, who turn every failure into fuel, who build discipline like armor around their soul. You must adopt a new mindset. Turn your pain into power. Turn your setbacks into strategy. Make your spirit so unbreakable that even life hesitates before testing you. When you raise your standards, your life rises with you. People say, Tate is too aggressive. Good, because this world devours the soft and rewards the strong. Your future depends on your strength, not your excuses. If you stay weak, the world will push you, ignore you, and eventually crush you. But if you become strong, the world opens its doors. Opportunities appear. People respect you. Power follows you. So choose today. Harden your spirit or be crushed. There is no middle ground. Strength is a choice. Weakness is a habit. Most people never understand the depth of this truth because they spend their entire lives believing strength is something you're born with, some gift reserved for the lucky few. But the hook is this: strength is not destiny, it's discipline. Every morning you wake up, life silently asks you one question. Will you choose strength today, or will you fall back into the habit of weakness? And most people, without even realizing it, choose weakness long before their day even begins. They hit snooze. They avoid discomfort. They run from challenges. They wait for motivation. What they don't see is that every tiny act of avoiding discomfort is training their mind to lose. Weakness becomes their routine, their identity, their cage. Strength, on the other hand, is not forged in comfort. It is built in the moments that feel heavy, boring, frustrating, and painful. Strength grows each time you push yourself one step further than you did yesterday. It grows when you do the work even when nobody is watching, when you choose silence over excuses, when you refuse to bow down to fear. The world notices the results later, but the battle is always fought in the unseen hours, where you decide who you are going to become. And here's another hook most people don't want to hear. You are not tired. You're undisciplined. You are not unlucky. You're unfocused. You are not weak. You're choosing weakness every single day. Every person you admire, every success story you hear, every icon you look up to, they were all sculpted from the exact same raw material as you: time, pain, pressure, and choice. The only difference is they refused to let weakness become their habit. They used fear as a compass, not a cage. They understood that strength isn't just physical. It is mental, emotional, spiritual, and every time life pushed them, they push back harder. The truth is, strength is built in the conversations you have with yourself. When your mind whispers, quit, strength is the voice that shouts, go again. When your emotions scream, this is too much, strength calmly replies, exactly, that's why you must continue. Weakness feels easy in the short term, but it always destroys you in the long term. It steals your confidence, your ambition, your potential. It convinces you that failure is acceptable, that mediocrity is normal, that you should settle for less. It becomes a habit so silently that one day you wake up and realize you've been living as a watered-down version of yourself. But strength, real strength, demands something greater. It demands that you hold yourself accountable. It demands that you break the patterns that are breaking you. It demands that you step into the war with your own limitations and refuse to lose. Your habits decide your future long before your dreams do. You can dream of greatness, But if your habits belong to the weak, your life will too. And this is where your choice becomes everything. You can rebuild yourself from scratch. You can break out of who you've been and rise into who you were always capable of becoming. One disciplined decision at a time, one uncomfortable action at a time, one personal promise kept at a time. Because that's what strength really is. Keeping promises to yourself even when nobody else would blame you for breaking them. Every day you stand at a crossroads. One path is filled with comfort, excuses, procrastination, the quiet, slow death of your potential. The other path is steep, demanding, unforgiving, but it is also the path where your confidence grows, your power awakens, and your true self finally emerges. Strength isn't louder than weakness. It's just more consistent. Weakness shouts. Strength acts. And the greatest hook of all, you can change your entire life the moment you decide that weakness is no longer acceptable. Once you choose strength, truly choose it, everything around you starts to shift. Your posture changes. Your decisions sharpen. Your goals rise. Your mindset hardens. And slowly the world begins to respect the person you are becoming. Strength was always yours. You just have to choose it every single day. Life does not care about your feelings. This single truth is one of the harshest yet most liberating realizations you will ever face. The world isn't watching your struggles with sympathy. It's not slowing down because you're tired, and it's not holding back opportunities until you're emotionally ready. Life keeps moving with or without you. And the hook is this: if you allow your emotions to control your actions, you will always be controlled by circumstances instead of shaping them. Most people spend their entire lives trapped inside their own feelings, waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for the moment they feel like taking action. But the world is not waiting with them. It's moving forward, rewarding the disciplined and crushing the emotional. Feelings are temporary. Consequences are permanent. When you choose comfort over progress because you don't feel like it, the world doesn't pause to give you another chance. When you skip your goals because you're sad, tired, or overwhelmed, life doesn't soften. It simply gives your rewards to someone else. You can cry, complain, argue, blame. None of it changes the reality that outcomes come from actions, not emotions. The most successful people in the world feel the exact same doubt, fear, laziness, and frustration as everyone else. But they refuse to let those feelings decide their future. And that's the hook. Very few people want to accept you're not losing because life is unfair. You're losing because your emotions are leading you. Life respects action, not emotion. The world bows to people who show up regardless of how they feel. Those are the individuals who build extraordinary lives, not because they are emotionless, but because they control their emotions instead of letting their emotions control them. They understand that pain is not a stop sign. It's a signal that growth is happening. Insecurity is not a wall. It's a challenge asking you to push harder. Fear is not a warning to retreat. It's a doorway to your next level. And when you adopt this mindset, your entire world begins to shift. You stop negotiating with weakness and start operating like someone who understands that progress demands sacrifice. Most people complain that life is unfair, but fairness was never promised. Life gives you exactly what you earn, not what you feel you deserve. It rewards consistency over inspiration, discipline over motivation, resilience over emotional turbulence. When you allow feelings to dictate your routine, you become fragile. You break easily. You quit quickly. And the hook is brutal. Life has no space for fragile people. It simply moves them aside and clears the path for those who act with strength and intention. Your feelings may be real, but they are not commands. You can feel tired and still work. You can feel afraid and still move forward. You can feel overwhelmed and still stay committed. That is where your power is. That is where you separate yourself from the millions who are losing because they are slaves to their emotions. Discipline is freedom because it liberates you from the chaos of your mind. Once you master the ability to act despite your mood, you become unstoppable. You no longer rely on external sparks to keep you going. You build an internal fire that cannot be extinguished. Life does not soften for you, but you can harden yourself for life. When you stop expecting life to care about your emotions, you begin to focus on what truly matters: your actions, your habits, your output, your evolution. That shift turns you from a victim of circumstances into the architect of your own destiny. It turns weakness into strength, chaos into clarity, and hesitation into power. The moment you stop letting your feelings dictate your effort, your life will elevate faster than you ever imagined. Because while the world may not care about your feelings, It will always reward your discipline. Every person carries two versions of themselves, the one they are and the one they could become. The weak version is comfortable, emotional, distracted, and constantly negotiating with excuses. The powerful version is disciplined, focused, and unstoppable. And here's the hook most people avoid because it feels too confrontational. The only way to rise into the strongest version of yourself is to kill the weakest one. Not manage it, not negotiate with it, not politely ignore it, kill it. Because as long as the weak version of you is allowed to speak, it will always pull you backward. It will always convince you that you're too tired, too stressed, too unlucky, too busy to become who you were destined to be. Your weak self survives on comfort. It wakes up thinking of the easiest option, the path with the least resistance, the choice that requires the fewest sacrifices. It has mastered the art of storytelling, whispering excuses that sound reasonable, logical, even protective. Take a break. You worked enough. Try again tomorrow. It's too risky. You're not ready yet. These lies are soft, comforting, and deadly, and the hook is sharp. Your weak self is not trying to save you, it's trying to enslave you. Every time you choose comfort over progress, that weaker identity grows stronger, and your potential shrinks a little more. Killing that weak version of yourself isn't an act of violence. It's an act of evolution. It requires honesty so brutal that most people can't handle it. You must confront the truth of who you've been, the habits you've ignored, the opportunities you've wasted, the promises you've broken to yourself. This confrontation is the beginning of transformation. When you stop lying to yourself, you start rebuilding yourself, and this is the hook that hits the hardest. Your weak self cannot survive in the presence of absolute accountability. Once you acknowledge your own responsibility, excuses lose their power. Growth begins the moment you stop allowing the weakest parts of yourself to lead. You start making decisions based on who you want to be, not who you've been. You stop seeking comfort and start seeking challenge. You stop waiting for the right moment and create your own momentum. With every action that goes against your weakness, you starve it. With every disciplined step, you strengthen your powerful identity. Slowly, the weak version of you dies, not in one dramatic moment, but in the daily discipline of choosing strength over softness. And let's be clear, this isn't easy. It's not supposed to be. Killing the weak version of yourself requires sacrifice. It means leaving behind habits that used to soothe you, people who used to comfort you, environments that used to validate your limitations. It means embracing discomfort willingly because you understand that discomfort is the birthplace of greatness. And here's another hook. The weak version of you will fight back. It will resist. It will try to convince you that growth is too painful, that discipline is too demanding, that change is too risky. But every time you silence that voice and take action anyway, you reclaim a piece of your power. The strongest version of you is already inside you. It's just buried under layers of fear, doubt, laziness, and old identities. When you kill the weak version, you uncover the warrior within. You discover clarity, confidence, and energy you never knew you had. You stop surviving and start dominating. You stop wondering and start executing. You stop hoping and start creating. Your life changes the moment you stop protecting your weaknesses and start eliminating them. The weak version of you has had enough time, enough control, enough chances. Now it's time for the stronger you to take over. Fully, unapologetically, permanently. When that happens, success is no longer a possibility. It becomes your identity. Pain is the most misunderstood gift life gives you. Most people run from it, hide from it, complain about it, and curse it as if pain's only purpose is to break them. But here's the hook that separates the weak from the powerful. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is the strongest weapon you will ever possess. Every moment of discomfort is a signal, a doorway, a message from life saying there is more inside you. Push, grow, evolve. The ones who fear pain stay small. The ones who embrace it rise far beyond anything they ever imagined. Pain has a language of its own, and the truth is harsh. If you refuse to listen to pain, you will never hear the call of progress. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Confidence doesn't grow in easy moments. Strength isn't born from relaxation. Everything great inside you is forged in the fire of struggle. People admire successful men but never understand the suffering that shaped them. They envy the results but fear the process. They want the crown without bleeding for it. That's why so many never become who they were meant to be. They avoid the very thing designed to transform them. Every painful moment is an opportunity disguised as difficulty. When you're tired but keep going, you build endurance. When you're afraid but take action, you build courage. When you're defeated but stand again, you build resilience. Pain is the great sculptor, carving away your weaknesses and sharpening your strengths. It removes the softness that holds you back and forces you to discover the power you didn't know you had. Without pain, you remain untested, fragile, and unprepared for the challenges life will inevitably throw at you. Most people treat pain as a stop sign. Winners treat it as a green light. They understand something simple. Pain is proof that you're moving in the right direction. If it's uncomfortable, it's working. If it burns, it's building you. If it scares you, it's shaping you into someone stronger. When life hits you with hardship, it's not trying to destroy you, it's preparing you. But only those who endure long enough get to see what that preparation becomes. Pain is not punishment, it's refinement. The world will never reward you for being comfortable. Comfort creates stagnation. Stagnation creates weakness, and weakness creates regret. People who live their lives avoiding pain end up experiencing a different kind of suffering, the suffering of never becoming anything more than average. And that is the most painful fate of all. The hook is brutal but true. You will either suffer the pain of growth or the pain of regret. There is no life without suffering, only a choice of which suffering leads you to greatness. When you shift your mindset and start using pain instead of fearing it, everything changes. You stop wasting energy asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That mental shift transforms setbacks into strategies, failures into fuel, breakdowns into breakthroughs. Pain becomes your compass, pointing you toward the areas you must strengthen if you want to evolve. And here's the final hook that defines champions. The more pain you can endure, the more power you can hold. Pain expands your capacity. It deepens your resolve. It forces you to level up mentally, physically, and emotionally. And once you discover how to turn pain into power, life becomes a battlefield you are equipped to dominate. Not because it gets easier, but because you get stronger. Pain will shape you, sharpen you, and strengthen you if you stop running from it and start using it. The ones who learn this truth rise. The ones who avoid it stay exactly where they are. Discipline is the armor that shields you from the chaos of life. It is not just a habit, not just a routine, not just something you do when you feel motivated. Discipline is a lifestyle, a mindset, a personal code that separates extraordinary people from the millions who drift through life without direction. The hook is simple, but unstoppable. Once you build discipline, the world loses its ability to control you. You stop being pushed around by emotions, distractions, temptations, and excuses. You become a force that moves with intention, not impulse. Most people live on emotional autopilot. They wake up late because they didn't feel like it. They skip their goals because they weren't in the mood. They abandon commitments because something felt too hard. But life doesn't reward the emotional. It rewards the disciplined. Discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates results. A man without discipline may have potential, but he will never have power. A man with discipline may start small, but he becomes unstoppable. And the hook is sharp. Discipline is the only reliable path to success because motivation will always abandon you. Discipline is the quiet work done when no one is watching. It's waking up early when your body begs for comfort. It's staying focused when your mind tries to wander. It's doing the extra rep when your muscles scream to stop. It's studying when your friends are relaxing, grinding when everyone else is sleeping, improving when others are complaining. Discipline doesn't care about your mood. Discipline doesn't need permission. Discipline shows up regardless of how you feel. That's why it becomes armor, because once practiced long enough, it protects you from your weaker impulses. The world tries constantly to distract you. Social media pulls at your attention. Comfort whispers in your ear. Laziness offers you the illusion of relief. But discipline cuts through all noise. It does not negotiate. It does not bargain. It does not bend. It gives you clarity in a world drowning in illusions. And here's a powerful hook. When you build discipline, you no longer chase success. Success starts chasing you. Opportunities appear because you become someone who can handle them. People trust you because you deliver. Life opens doors because you've proven you're ready to walk through them. Discipline is also your greatest weapon against failure, not because it prevents failure, but because it teaches you how to rise from it. A disciplined person doesn't quit when things go wrong. He adapts, he recalibrates, he attacks again. That's why disciplined individuals succeed at levels emotional people can't even imagine. They simply outlast everyone. And that's the truth most people don't want to face. You don't need to be the smartest or the most talented. You just need to be the most disciplined. Discipline beats talent when talent is lazy. Discipline beats intelligence when intelligence is inconsistent. Discipline wins because it keeps going long after others have stopped. Think of all the people who complain about their life. They want respect, success, strength, freedom, but they refuse to put in the consistent work required to build those things. They want the reward without the routine, but discipline demands that you earn your transformation. It demands commitment, sacrifice, self-control, and the biggest hook of all, discipline gives you freedom. Freedom from doubt, from fear, from chaos, from weakness, from regret. People think discipline is restriction, but in reality, it is the doorway to becoming the strongest, smartest, most capable version of yourself. Building discipline is not about perfection, it's about repetition. Every time you choose the harder path, discipline grows. Every time you reject excuses, discipline strengthens. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, discipline sharpens your identity. Slowly, you become someone who can rely on himself fully. Someone who doesn't break under pressure. Someone who commands his own life instead of reacting to it. And that transformation, the shift from undisciplined to unstoppable, is what separates the average from the elite. The moment you commit to discipline, truly commit, your entire life begins to elevate. You walk differently, you think differently, you act differently. Challenges don't scare you. Discomfort doesn't slow you. Temptation doesn't tempt you because you've built armor made from habits, consistency, and unshakable self-control. And once discipline becomes your identity, nothing can break you. When your spirit becomes unbreakable, the entire world begins to shift in front of you. Most people live their lives hoping the world will be gentle, hoping circumstances will adjust to their comfort, hoping someone will come and guide them toward a better life. But the truth is ruthless. Life doesn't respect the weak. It responds only to the strong. And the hook that changes everything is this. Once you harden your spirit, you stop waiting for life to choose you and you start choosing your life. That shift turns ordinary people into leaders, victims into warriors, followers into forces of nature. An unbreakable spirit isn't built overnight. It is carved through failure, refined through discipline, sharpened through adversity. It is the result of facing the storms life throws at you instead of running from them. Weak spirits collapse under pressure. Hardened spirits rise because of it. When you develop this internal strength, challenges no longer intimidate you, they activate you. Obstacles become signals. Hardship becomes training. Every struggle becomes proof that you're built for more than comfort. And here's the hook. Most people never understand. Life becomes easier the moment you stop expecting it to be easy. When you harden your spirit, your confidence doesn't come from external validation. It comes from the battles you've survived, from the promises you've kept to yourself, from the moments you stood tall even when everything around you tried to break you. Leadership is not something you wait to receive. It is something you earn through resilience. People start following you not because you demand it, but because your strength naturally commands respect. They trust your presence because your presence is built on unshakable foundation. Those who fail to harden their spirits spend their lives reacting to circumstances, to emotions, to other people's opinions. They are pulled in every direction because they have no anchor within themselves. But once your spirit becomes firm, external chaos no longer controls you. Noise doesn't distract you, pressure doesn't scare you, and setbacks don't stop you. You move with intention, precision, and certainty. And that's the powerful hook. When you become internally strong, the world adapts to you instead of you adapting to the world. There comes a moment in every great person's life when they realize that strength isn't measured by how loudly they speak, but by how deeply they stand. A hardened spirit doesn't need approval. It doesn't chase comfort. It doesn't cling to excuses. It operates with clarity even when the path is dark. It fights when others surrender. It remains composed when others panic. That is the difference between someone who leads life and someone who is dragged through it. Hardening your spirit also means taking full responsibility for your destiny. Weak individuals always look for someone to blame: situations, luck, family, the world. Strong individuals understand a fundamental truth. No one is coming to build your life for you. You have to become the force that shapes your reality. Responsibility becomes empowering, not burdensome. You stop waiting for chances and start creating them. You stop hoping for opportunities and start earning them. The moment you embrace complete accountability is the moment your spirit begins to harden. And here's another hook. A strong spirit doesn't eliminate fear. It dominates it. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the refusal to bow to it. When your spirit becomes solid, fear may knock on your door, but it never gets to dictate your decisions. Doubt may whisper, but it never controls your actions. Hardship may test you, but it never defines you. The transformation that happens when your spirit becomes unbreakable is undeniable. You walk differently. You speak differently. You think differently. People can feel your presence before you even say a word. You become someone who inspires without trying, someone who leads without forcing, someone who changes rooms simply by entering them. And this is the ultimate hook. Once you harden your spirit, success becomes a natural byproduct. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you become stronger than anything life can throw at you. A hardened spirit turns you into a leader of your own destiny, unshakable, relentless, and unstoppable. This is your moment to decide, live as a victim, or rise as a warrior. Decide whether life will crush you or you will reshape life on your terms. Remember this truth. Life doesn't wait for the weak. Life bows to the strong. Awaken the soldier inside you. Wear discipline like armor and show the world you weren't born to lose. You were born to dominate. Stand up, harden your spirit, and take what's already yours.